Now we shall move on to our second lecture presentation, which is going to be presented by Mr. Tapun Bhattacharya, formerly Deputy Superintending Archaeological Engineer, Archaeological Survey of India. Mr. Bhattacharya, are you there?
Hello, yeah, I'm here. Do you hear me?
Thank you. Before moving on to our presentation by our next speaker, we would like to share a few words about Mr. Bhattacharya with all of our keen audience. Mr. Bhattacharya, having been working in the field of structural conservation of monuments for nearly 37 years in different capacities in the Archaeological Survey of India, have handled conservation problems of many important monuments, including World Heritage monuments such as the Taj Mahal in Agra and the Sun Temple in Konark, etc., for years together. He also inspected assist and damages and drawn conservation proposal for World Heritage monuments in foreign countries such as Prambanan Group of Temples in Indonesia, Bagan Temple in Myanmar, and My Son Group of Temples in Vietnam on deputation by the Archaeological Survey of India. He has delivered lectures on different aspects of structural conservation regularly to the students of postgraduate diploma in archaeology in the Institute of Archaeology, New Delhi, and also imparting practical hands-on training on structural conservation in the annual Structural Conservation Training Camp of the Institute of Archaeology, regularly for at least 20 years as a permanent faculty of the Institute, occasionally delivering lectures on conservation to the Department of Archaeology or Architecture in other universities, as also a visiting faculty. We would now request Mr. Bhattacharya to kindly present us with his presentation on curative conservation of heritage buildings for adaptive reuse. Please, Mr. Bhattacharya.
Good evening. I'm delighted. To join this international webinar on global heritage movement and Kuchbihar. It has been very brilliantly arranged, and it's very much timely, I feel. And I'm grateful to Kuchbihar Archive and Rishi Kalpo in particular for inviting me here. Since yesterday, we have heard excellent and wonderful talks of the scholars, and which are very educative and very informative about the heritage of Kuch Bihar. I believe that I cannot add anything to these informations and to these things, but I'll share my serious concern over the issue of conserving and preserving these heritage buildings in Kuch Bihar. Because I believe, and I'm sure that all will agree with me, that this is our legacy to hand over these heritage buildings of Kuch Bihar to our next generations, and with their all originalities as much as possible. Have to conserve and preserve them on a permanent basis. Heritage buildings in Kuch Bihar and in other places which are being reused are mostly built between 18th and early 20th century. The construction materials are mostly sourced locally and traditional building construction techniques. Now, problem is that most of those building materials and those building construction techniques are now obsolete with the advent of new building materials and new building construction and maintenance techniques. So, repairing and maintaining these buildings is a big challenge before its present users. And the usage pattern of these heritage buildings, which are being reused, has considerably changed over time. You see on the screen, Shantiniketan building, a building in Shantiniketan. This is the first building, Shantiniketan. Before this, it was not Shantiniketan, it was Gondanga. And the entire area is named after this building, Shantiniketan. And this was built to accommodate the family of Maharshi Devendranath Tagore. Now it is an exhibition place and exhibiting some paintings and other art objects to the visitors, touring visitors in Shanti. Another building, Chitrabhanu Studio in Shantiniketan. This was once a hub of creative activity of the poet son Ratindranath and his wife in Shantiniketan, both during and even after Rabindranath's lifetime. Now it is an exhibit. So the usage pattern has changed a lot. Currency building in Kolkata in the low system. This was once accommodating an mercantile bank. Now it is partially accommodating some exhibition halls and partially some government officials. Victoria Memorial Hall, Kolkata, a memorial hall, is now a museum. Jorashankar Thakur Badi, which was a dwelling house, which is the ancestral house of Rabindranath Tagore, is now a museum. So it's not very difficult to understand that the usage pattern has changed a lot. And maintenance and repair of these buildings as per the internationally accepted protocol for repairing and maintaining of historic buildings is a very big challenge for the present users. As per the internationally accepted principles of conservation, originality, authenticity, and integrity of the historic old buildings should be retained as far as possible with minimum changes and alterations. The radical change in usage pattern of these buildings has called for some additions and alterations during their maintenance. There are many examples. Number one, many of these buildings are now air conditioned, or the parts thereof, of course, in Victoria Memorial, this currency building, and so many old heritage buildings for their present, for the comfort and other purposes of their present users. Air conditioners have been installed over there. And for running an air conditioner, there is the need of electrification, the installation of electrical cabling, electrical wiring, and all that. And it's not very difficult to imagine that what amount of structural intervention has taken place in this building. And while doing so, unfortunately, we never cared, we never remembered that these buildings provided with large open windows were for the intention to give comfort to its users, at the same time for enough evaporation of moisture from inside the building to keep the building dry and healthy. For the sake of air conditioning, we have closed those large windows and invited serious dampness in most of these buildings. And wherever we go, wherever we see a heritage building, damp, damp, and damp. Dampness is the most common conservation problem observed in almost every heritage building around us. Let us ask one question to ourselves. Why it is suffering from dampness today? There was no such problem. Had there been inherent problem, the building would not have survived and so beautifully performed for last more than centuries. Then, where from this problem crept up today? And why? Roof drainage system is important. Whenever we call, we say this, we talk about this dampness. Either we look at the roof and look for a leaky roof, or look for that rising damp, which is called, this is a rising dampness. And leaky roof surfaces are less important than faulty rainwater spouts, and faulty spouts are less important than faulty rainwater pipe joints. Also, surface drainage system is important. In this building, lots of structural interventions are there. I have visited this building last January. Rising dampness is a cause of moisture penetration, which is very usually commonly overdone. Rising damp is usually a secondary problem associated with defective surface drainage. Ground and surface drainage are almost always defective around the building. We do not find any surface drainage system available in this building, and the building is suffering from severe damage. Another building, there is also the same thing. We do not find, definitely when the building was designed by its original builder, definitely there was a surface drainage system, and which has given a good health and good lease of life to this building for more than a century. But the drain has gone. Drain has gone, vanished, and that has contributed to the dampness and other structural problems with this building. Experience shows most of the visible damages and distress in an old masonry building are the results of inappropriate repair and maintenance to it for years, either by its present users or by the present owner of it. An old building, more than a century old, to solve the problem of its leaky roof, has been targeted without paying any attention to the fact that how does it interact with the very weak old lime concrete roof surface. This tap felting concept is, it goes very well with the modern cement concrete roof surface, but it has been laid on a lime concrete surface, and it has caused trapping of moisture, and the trapped moisture is taking its toll on the building. The cracks, rusting of iron members of the roof. But it should have been done like this. The original roof was a lime concrete roof. It's not that we cannot do it nowadays. It is not that problem which we speak about, that those materials are not available, those specialized skills are not available. It's not that. If we pay little attention, if we look for these things are still available. And it should have been done like this. A fort. I exactly don't remember the name of a tourist place. Good number of tourists, thousands of tourists visit it every day, and it is under maintenance. Somebody is maintaining it, trying to maintain it, and you see the serious dampness problem. And that dampness problem must have come from that inappropriate repair. Another important heritage building in Shantiniketan. This building was built even before Shantiniketan, called Jijobiram. I have taken this photograph in the year 2007 when this was being used as a store of antiquities and other things obtained from excavations of the Department of Archaeology. And you see the surface drainage system is not there, and lots of cements have been used for its repair time to time, and the dampness problem is going on. Metta Hall, Strand Road in Kolkata. This building is the document under the Archaeological Survey of India. First, noted that there is a crack, white crack running. See the extent of the crack here. And seeing this crack, we invited engineers from so many corners of the country. And the engineers started seeing this, looking for its causes. There may be settlement, there may be foundation problem, there may be anything. Finally, we did not see any foundation problem. We did not arrive at any settlement. For many years, under the care of CPWD, we started opening the roof, arrived there near the wooden beams, and the old wooden beams are like this. And this is the result of trapped moisture in the building. Finally, the wooden beams are replaced with new beams. building has come back to stone. By using modern materials, we have rather compounded the structural problem of it. We wanted to beautify the building with all good intentions. The owner of this temple structure, with his all good intentions, he wanted to repair it and to make it presentable to its present users. And what has happened? The old porous materials are covered with modern cementitious materials, and it has resulted to serious dampness problems. And the retention of moisture has also caused growth of plants. And it's not a problem only here. It's a problem everywhere around us. It's in Vietnam. I visited 2.5 years back. It's in North Vietnam, a beautiful temple structure. They are trying to repair it using cement, and you see the result. Have a better view of the same temple. It's not due to the bad intention of the repairer. The repairer has a very good intention to do very nicely, and the strong material they have used, very rich proportion of cement sand. But this building cannot receive cement. That was not known to them. They finally invited the Archaeological Survey of India, and I was one of the team members of the Archaeological Survey of India team, and what I saw there is this. Another temple structure in Vietnam, excellent, a beautiful temple. They tried to repair it using cement. This is in Myanmar, Pagan temple. I visited in the year 2007 and 2010 again, and then it was like this. The engineers there, they tried to repair this building using all available with them, and sand, everything. That is all. Now this has been repaired very well by the Archaeological Survey of India. One of the finest military fortifications in Europe. So this is not a problem only in our country. It is not only a problem in Kuch Bihar, not a problem only in Kolkata or in West Bengal. It is everywhere. And for this, we cannot blame anyone. We cannot blame the owner of the structure. We cannot blame the engineer who has repaired it. At all to be blamed, I can blame myself that we have failed to generate sufficient awareness about these things, and we have failed to create a good number of required number of specialized skills for doing these things. Proper maintenance and repair of these buildings requires specialized skill. That specialized skill is not available adequately. Conservation works are required to be planned, estimated, and supervised by expert engineer or architect, having adequate experience in handling such works, and the craftsmen should be used to working with traditional building materials. Necessary repairs should be done using compatible materials only, which match the composition and strength of the existing original fabrics as far as possible. When we do air conditioning to a building, then what do? Definitely we have to cause some damages to its masonry walls, roof, and in so many places. While repairing all those damages, we use cement. And my building is not built in cement. When the building was built, cement did not take birth at all. Cement has come in picture only after mid-19th century. Before that, all the buildings are built in lime mortar, which is soft and porous. And if I repair those buildings using rigid and non-porous cementitious material, natural breathing, which is required to keep dampness away from this building, that property is gone. And I am inviting this dampness problem and other structural problems in this building to this inappropriate repair. Not intentionally at all, or the lack of knowledge. Finally, for the sake of conservation of historic buildings, the extent of structural interventions aimed at to satisfy the needs of its present users should be kept as minimum as possible. I should expect air-conditioned weather and so many facilities attached, washroom and all that in a modern building. But all these things I cannot expect in Prithviraj Palace. If I expect all these things in a heritage building, in an old building, then I have to do lots of structural changes to it, which the building may not be happy to receive at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bhattacharya, for your very kind presentation. It was truly captivating. As far as I could recall, Mr. Bhattacharya also delivered a lecture on the method of conservation and preservation of heritage buildings at the Lansdowne Hall, Kuch Bihar, on the World Heritage Day, that is on the 18th of April 2013. With the members of the archive has also been fortunate to learn many of the conservation methods from his informative lectures. Once again, many thanks to Mr. Bhattacharya. Now we will move on to our interaction session. We are inviting questions from our keen audiences. Please, if there are any questions, our respected speaker would try to answer.
I'd love to hear
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
This is Savant from Goa. And don't you feel that we also have neglected regular maintenance of these buildings? And that is one of the essential aspects of conservation and avoiding dampness. Because, like for example, in the context of Goa, pre-monsoons maintenance becomes a very vital aspect. And if that is not done, and these heritage homes being larger in size, and the younger generation does not fit in the context of maintenance, and that could be one of the reasons which I personally felt. Your comments, please.
I should not blame anyone for this negligence because I can blame myself only that we have failed to pass on this message to the majority in our society that the need of maintenance is much more in case of an old building than this need for a modern building. Modern building can be maintained once in a blue moon, once in a month, or once after 2 months, and like that. But the old heritage building is like an old gentleman who goes to the doctor and doctor gives some injection. The problem is not solved once for all. Once he comes back, his blood pressure is treated, his blood sugar can go up. Blood sugar is treated, blood pressure can go up. This is like an old building. So the maintenance need of a modern building, there is a crack, there is a settlement issue, there is some structural distress. You attended it and then forget it. Fine. But in case of an old building, you cannot forget, you cannot simply repair one thing and forget about it. Why it has damaged? One thing has to be kept in our mind that this particular building has beautifully performed for last so many centuries without any problem. Where from the problem has crept up today? And in most of the cases, the problem does not lie there where the signs of distress is there. See the signs of dampness somewhere, and the problem, the cause, the source is elsewhere. So, in case of an old building, we have to look for the causes of the problem. I love to call myself a building pathologist rather than an engineer because I always look for that. I always look for the cause of the problem. I do not look for the symptom. I do not look for the sign of damage because the sign of damage tells me that something has gone wrong in some corner of this building. So, the maintenance need of an old building is much more than that of a modern building. Maintenance through inspection, periodical inspection, understanding the building, following the specification. Excellent question. And I believe I could answer.
Yes, sir. Uh, if I'm permitted, can I ask another question?
Yes.
We also have a basic problem of specialized workers who could do the rehabilitation of the building. And I personally believe that um, at state government level, there has to be a certain level of training that needs to be given to, as you said, that there could be in the rightest form of way in which rehabilitation can take of these heritage buildings.
It's a beautiful reason. This is actually what is required. Training to the engineers. I told you in this talk, I repeated rather, that this is not that the engineer is not good. This is not that the mason is not good. The mason is used to the present modern building materials, used to the modern building construction techniques. He is not used to that traditional technique. So I have to tell them that technique. I have to teach them that thing. Then only they will be to me. And the present engineers, the Indian engineers, we are proud of our Indian engineers. They can do everything, they can do anything. But they have to be told in their subject it was all cement. Cement technology was there only, lime technology was not there because by that time it has become obsolete. Now we are researching on that. Now we know what lime can do. And if you are asked that lime cannot give you that much strength, that much life, then you need not believe anybody. You just believe your eyes only and see the Taj Mahal. You see the Victoria Memorial Hall. You see the churches in Goa. They are standing for so many years. If I use those materials, if I follow that specification holistically, the lease of life of 50 years or 100 years, not difficult to believe at all.
Thank you, sir. It was a well delivered lecture, and also the responses were absolutely to the point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have one question. Myself is Dr. Dipan Chattopadhyay. I am a temporary dweller of Kuch Bihar because now I am staying in Calcutta. Rishi Kalpa is my student, my dearest student. I have heard your lecture and I have very innocent curiosity. First of all, I offer my thanks for your fantastic representation. I have very innocent curiosity. Outwardly, all the heritage building, the Kuch Bihar and its surrounding, we find that it is glazy and looking that very new and is built just 10-15 years ago, etc. What is the fate of these heritage buildings in next few hundred years?
There is still time.
Huh?
There is still time. I have visited many heritage buildings in Kuch Bihar in last January only. There is no major threat. In most of them, there is no major threat against the structural stability of this building. It needs only appropriate maintenance. No major conservation or no major repair is required.
What you were telling several times in your lecture, the maintenance is very required.
Yes, only maintenance. And follow the original specification, how it was built. It was built in lime, sand, mortar. And one thing is there, let me tell you. When we speak of modern mortar, it is all cement, sand, cement, sand, cement, sand. But when we speak of old buildings, these heritage buildings, it is not only lime sand, it is lime sand in places and lime shurki in places. Everywhere it is not lime shurki.
Chun-shurki building.
Chun-shurki, but it is not everywhere. Adding shurki is not the necessity in all the locations of a building. It is the necessity only in confined locations where the lime cannot set by carbonation. It needs a chemical set. Adding shurki to lime mortar is not a necessity for plastering. It is a necessity for laying bricks or stones while doing the thick walls, while constructing the thick walls.
Okay.
Many of us, we do not yet know what is the necessity, what shurki does in lime mortar.
In Murshidabad also, there's my heritage place, native place. There also I visited several times in Hazardwari and Katra and all that, and they are also built up in Chumshurki. And there also
Again, I'm telling you, please keep it in your mind. When we are used to telling that after Chun we say Shurki, Shurki, Shurki. It's not always. Now, after long research by English Heritage, it is clear to us that addition, what Shurki does in life. The addition of Shurki is not a requirement in every location of the building. It is the need of all confined locations. In other places, lime sand is needed.
Thank you.
Lecture, Baba.
Thank you again, sir.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask one question?
Sure, sir.
As if we take the case of Kuch Bihar heritage, then all heritage buildings, almost all Kuch Bihar heritage buildings, there is a nearby there is a pond, and is there any relation between these water bodies, maintain these water bodies and the heritage buildings?
So there are two things. Some people say that bricks are made out of the soil collected from that nearby ponds. This may not be, I'm not very sure of that. But we find a good relationship between this height of water table below that building with the water table of that nearby pond. It is the technology used in the construction of Victoria Memorial Hall. When there are 4 tanks in 4 corners of Victoria Memorial Hall. In the summertime, when the water level goes down in the ponds, we used to pour water into them for the good health. Because to some extent, moisture is to be maintained in the basement of the structure for it.
Are there any questions, please?
Am I audible? I have a question.
Yeah,
Yes,
you are very much audible.
Okay, sir. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. I just want to know that there are many.
How should we generate it for
So, 1 minute.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Now you are.
Okay, I'm asking that there are many old houses in Calcutta which are under family possessions, and there is in need of repair and restoration. So, there is obviously monetary problem sometimes with old houses, but is there any how can they approach help of engineers and is there any organization which can be approached?
Sure. Now there is a REACH Foundation, RESCH. This is originally in Chennai, but now we have taken one branch here in Kolkata, and it is headed by the retired Director of Science of Archaeological Survey of India. I am there, and my colleague archaeological engineers are also there. And this REACH Foundation can be reached for any help. Happy to.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Well, I'm very delighted to mention that Mr. Bhattacharya is himself the founder member of the REACH Foundation Calcutta chapter, if I'm not wrong, Mr. Bhattacharya?
Yes.
Yes. And he has great expertise in the conservation of this heritage building, as we have already seen. Are there any questions from our audiences, please?
And Shikalpa, you may if you are asked about my things and if somebody may have some questions also, please feel free to give them my number and email ID so that they can contact me and have detailed answer.
Absolutely, very, very fine. Thank you very much. I think we the questions up to this session. Mr. Bhattacharya, shall we move on to our next lecture, please?
Please, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for a very kind lecture.